Do you ever feel like there's this unspoken contract about getting older, like everyone is supposed to just gracefully slide into their golden years, sipping tea, enjoying grandchildren, and everything is just lovely? But deep down, you know that's not always the full picture. Is it? There's a quiet undercurrent of things changing, things shifting, things that maybe feel a little uncomfortable to even think about, let alone talk about. Things that friends and family might not bring up, perhaps to be kind, or perhaps because they haven't quite processed it themselves. It's like you're walking this path, and everyone tells you about the beautiful scenery ahead, but they forget to mention the unexpected bumps, the steep climbs, or that the path might look a bit different than you imagined. It's not all sunshine and roses, and pretending it is doesn't help anyone. In fact, avoiding these tougher realities can leave you feeling isolated, unprepared, and even a little bit blindsided. It's okay to acknowledge the challenging parts of aging. It's not being negative, it's being real. And being real is the first step to navigating these years with strength and peace. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 harsh truths about getting older that often go unsaid. Things that might feel a bit raw, but facing them head-on can actually be incredibly freeing and empowering. Watch to the end for something that will surprise you. Let's start with the first one. And it's perhaps the most emotionally impactful for many of us: the unavoidable reality of loss and the changing landscape of relationships. As we get older, there's an increasing likelihood of saying goodbye to people we love dearly. This isn't just about partners or parents. It's about friends you've known for decades, siblings, colleagues, neighbors. People who were once constants in your life start to fade away. Sometimes suddenly, sometimes after a long illness. Each loss leaves a space, a quiet echo where laughter, shared memories, or even just their familiar presence used to be. And these spaces add up. It can feel like your personal history is slowly being archived, with fewer and fewer people left who shared those specific moments, those inside jokes, those unique perspectives on your life story. Grieving is a natural process, but the cumulative effect of multiple losses can be profound. It's not just the initial sharp pain, but the ongoing ache of absence. You might find yourself reaching for the phone to call someone who is no longer there, or wanting to share a funny anecdote that only they would truly appreciate. The social circle you relied on for decades can shrink, sometimes quite significantly. This leads into the second part of this truth. It often becomes harder to form the same kind of deep, effortless connections that perhaps came easily when you were younger, maybe through work, raising children, or shared community activities that were built into your daily life. Why is that? Well, several reasons. One is simply opportunity. The natural hubs for meeting people and building bonds, the workplace, school gates, busy community groups centered around young families, are often less central to our lives. Another factor is time and energy. Building a deep friendship takes time, vulnerability, and shared experiences. As we get older, we might have less energy for the casual socializing that often sparks these connections. Or we might be more set in our ways and routines, making it harder to integrate new people fully into our lives. Furthermore, the pool of potential friends who are at a similar life stage, facing similar challenges or triumphs, and who also have the capacity and desire for new deep connections can feel smaller. It's not impossible, of course, and many people form wonderful new friendships later in life. But it requires more intentionality, more effort to seek out groups or activities where you might meet like-minded individuals, and perhaps a different approach to building intimacy than you were used to in your younger years. There can be a vulnerability in putting yourself out there again, in navigating new social dynamics after years of established friendships. So, the harsh truth here is dual. You will likely experience significant loss, and the process of building profound new connections to fill those gaps or enrich your life can be more challenging than it used to be. This isn't a commentary on your social skills or desirability as a friend. It's a reality of the changing landscape of life as we age. It means acknowledging the potential for loneliness, even when surrounded by family. It means understanding that maintaining a vibrant social life might require more conscious effort than it did in previous decades. It requires being proactive, being open, and sometimes being brave enough to initiate connection in ways that might feel new or slightly uncomfortable at first. This truth can feel heavy. I know. The thought of losing people we love is painful, and the prospect of feeling isolated is scary. But recognizing it isn't about dwelling in sadness. It's about being prepared. It's about appreciating the connections you have now, perhaps putting more effort into nurturing them. It's about thinking ahead to how you can continue to build and maintain a support system that nourishes you. Even as life inevitably changes, it's about understanding that it's okay to feel the grief, to acknowledge the difficulty in forming new bonds, and to seek out resources or communities that can help you navigate these challenges. It's about not being caught off guard by the emotional and social shifts that are a natural part of this phase of life. And acknowledging it allows us to start thinking about how to proactively counteract it, how to ensure we remain connected and supported. Even as the world around us changes and the people in our lives shift and sometimes fade away. This isn't a failure on your part. It's a universal human experience in later life, one that requires resilience, adaptability, and a willingness to be intentional about your social well-being. Moving on from the emotional and social landscape, let's talk about something equally challenging, and often equally unspoken: the physical reality of aging and how society tends to respond to it. The second harsh truth is that your body will change in ways you can't completely stop. No matter how much you exercise, how healthily you eat, or how diligently you follow every piece of well-meaning advice. And alongside this, society's gaze and focus tend to shift away from you. We live in a culture that often glorifies youth and vitality. Advertising, media, fashion, they all predominantly showcase younger people. As you age, you might start to notice subtle, or not so subtle, shifts in how you're perceived or even interacted with. You might feel less visible in certain settings, or that your opinions are sometimes discounted, as if age somehow diminishes your relevance or capability. This isn't fair, and it's certainly not accurate, given the wealth of experience and wisdom that comes with age. But it is, unfortunately, a common societal tendency. You might feel like you're becoming less the protagonist and more a background character in the wider world narrative. Then there's the physical aspect. We talk a lot about healthy aging, maintaining mobility, and managing chronic conditions. And all of that is vital and empowering. But there's a truth underneath that no matter how well you take care of yourself, your body will eventually start to show signs of wear and tear that you can't simply reverse. Maybe it's that little twinge in your knee that wasn't there before, the way your vision requires stronger glasses, or finding that you just don't bounce back from a late night or a strenuous activity as quickly as you used to. Strength might decrease slightly, flexibility might lessen, and recovery times might get longer. These aren't failures, they are simply markers of time passing. However, living in a society that values peak physical performance and youthful aesthetics can make these changes feel like shortcomings. You might grieve the loss of physical capabilities you once took for granted, running effortlessly, lifting heavy things, staying up all night without feeling it the next day. There can be a feeling of disconnect between the vibrant person you still feel like inside and the physical reality that looks back at you in the mirror, or the limitations your body might impose on activities you once loved. And this is compounded by the societal shift, when you feel less visible, less focused upon by the wider world. The physical changes can feel more isolating. It's as if both your physical presence and your societal presence are undergoing a transformation, and not always in ways that feel positive or affirming. The constant barrage of anti-aging messages in the media doesn't help. It reinforces the idea that aging itself is something to be fought against, rather than a natural part of life to be embraced and navigated with grace and resilience. The harsh truth here is that you will likely experience physical changes that are irreversible. And you may feel a shift in how society perceives and values you based on age. This can be a double blow to your self-esteem and your sense of belonging. It requires a significant internal shift in how you view yourself, moving away from external validation based on youthful ideals and towards an appreciation of your body's journey and your inherent worth regardless of age or physical form. It means finding new ways to feel strong and capable, adapting activities to suit your changing physical reality, and perhaps most importantly, surrounding yourself with people and communities that value you for who you are, not for how young you look or how fast you can run. Acknowledging this truth is not about giving up. It's about being realistic. It's about understanding that while we absolutely should strive for health and vitality, there's a point where the goal shifts from preventing aging to embracing it well. It's about preparing yourself for the emotional impact of physical changes and potential societal ageism. It's about building an inner resilience that isn't dependent on external validation. It's about redefining what it means to be strong, capable, and valuable in your later years, finding beauty and purpose that transcend youthful ideals. It's a challenging but necessary process of self-acceptance and self-redefinition that allows you to navigate these changes with dignity and a continued sense of self-worth, rather than feeling defeated or invisible. Carrying on with these often unspoken realities, let's delve into the third harsh truth, which is about the shifting landscape of purpose and identity. For much of our lives, our sense of purpose and who we are is often closely tied to our roles: parent, professional, caregiver, builder, artist, leader. We have routines, responsibilities, goals that give structure and meaning to our days. But as we get older, especially after retirement, or as children become independent, or perhaps after a significant life change, these defining roles can diminish or disappear entirely. The third harsh truth is that your sense of purpose might shift dramatically, and you have to actively build a new one, often from the ground up. This can be incredibly disorienting. Imagine spending 30 or 40 years identifying strongly with your career, your colleagues, the goals you were working towards. Then, suddenly, that structure is gone. Or perhaps your identity was primarily focused on raising a family, nurturing your children through their crucial years. Now, they have their own lives. And while your love and support are still vital, that intense, daily involvement is no longer required in the same way. This transition, while often anticipated, can leave a void, a feeling of, okay, so who am I now? What am I supposed to do with all this time? This isn't just about having free time. It's about the deeper question of why you get up in the morning, what drives you, what gives you a sense of contribution, of being needed, of making a difference for some. This transition is smooth. They seamlessly move into new hobbies, volunteer work, creative pursuits, or spending more time with family in different ways. But for many, there's a period of drift, a feeling of being unmoored. The purpose that was once externally defined or built into their daily life now needs to be internally generated. And this is where the harsh part comes in. Society doesn't always provide a clear roadmap for this phase. There isn't a universal script for how to find your purpose after retirement, or what to do when the kids leave home. You might feel pressure to be constantly busy, but busyness isn't the same as purpose. Purpose comes from engaging in something meaningful to you, something that aligns with your values and brings you a sense of fulfillment and contribution. However you define that, building a new purpose requires introspection, experimentation, and often a willingness to step outside your comfort zone. It means asking yourself difficult questions. What do I truly care about? What skills and experiences do I have that I still want to use? What have I always wanted to try but never had the time? It might involve trying out different volunteer roles, joining new groups, starting a creative project, learning a new skill, or focusing on becoming a mentor. It's an active process, not something that just happens to you. The harsh truth is that this search for a new purpose can be challenging, sometimes frustrating, and might involve periods of feeling lost or irrelevant. You might try things that don't stick, face setbacks, or feel a pressure to find something immediately rewarding. It requires patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to explore different avenues. The old drivers of purpose, career advancement, raising a family, are often replaced by intrinsic motivations, personal growth, contributing to community, pursuing passions, maintaining well-being, and nurturing relationships. Recognizing this truth allows you to be prepared for this potential period of transition. It encourages you to start thinking about what truly matters to you now, independent of past roles. It highlights the importance of developing interests and skills outside of your primary work or family responsibilities throughout your life, so that when those roles change, you already have foundations to build upon. It emphasizes that finding purpose in later life is a personal journey, unique to each individual, and that it's okay if it takes time to figure out, and okay if it looks different from the purpose you had before. It is a call to be proactive about defining this next chapter on your own terms. Rather than feeling defined by the absence of your old roles, it's about embracing the freedom and opportunity this phase can offer to pursue what truly nourishes your soul and gives your days meaning, even if it's different from anything you've done before. Continuing our exploration of these often unvoiced realities, let's tackle the fourth harsh truth, which revolves around finances. We all hope to have saved enough, planned wisely, and be comfortable in our later years. We read articles about retirement planning and try our best to be prepared. But the fourth harsh truth is that financial worries can become more prominent, even with careful planning, often due to unexpected costs, inflation, or simply the sheer length of time your savings need to last. Life has a way of throwing curveballs. Doesn't it? An unexpected medical issue, needing to support an adult child, a major home repair that wasn't in the budget, inflation eating away at the purchasing power of your savings. These are just a few examples of things that can disrupt even the best-laid financial plans. What seemed like a comfortable nest egg at 60 might feel less secure at 70 or 80, especially with increasing life expectancy, meaning your resources need to stretch further than anticipated. There's also the fact that income sources often become fixed or less flexible in retirement. Pensions, Social Security, savings, these are what you have to work with. There isn't usually the opportunity to earn more by working overtime, getting a promotion, or easily switching to a higher-paying job. This lack of flexibility means that unexpected expenses or rising costs can have a more significant impact on your financial well-being. You might find yourself scrutinizing every expense, worrying about whether you can afford activities you enjoy, or feeling guilty about spending money, even on necessities or things that would improve your quality of life. Furthermore, as we age, healthcare costs often increase, even with good insurance. Copays, deductibles, prescriptions, and potentially long-term care expenses can be substantial and unpredictable. Planning for these costs is difficult because you don't know exactly what you'll need or when you'll need it. This uncertainty can be a significant source of stress, leading to sleepless nights and constant low-level anxiety about money. The financial concerns aren't just about affording the basics. They're also about maintaining your lifestyle, being able to help family if you wish, or simply having the peace of mind that you won't be a burden. There can be a feeling of vulnerability, especially if you are no longer earning an income. The responsibility for making your money last falls squarely on your shoulders, and the margin for error can feel very slim. The harsh truth here is that financial security in later life is often more complex and potentially more precarious than we hope or are led to believe. It requires ongoing vigilance, adaptability, and sometimes making difficult choices. It might mean adjusting your spending habits, exploring options for generating supplemental income if possible, or seeking professional financial advice tailored to your specific situation in retirement. It's not a set-it-and-forget-it plan. It's an ongoing process of management and adjustment. Recognizing this truth isn't about instilling panic. It's about encouraging realistic planning and ongoing engagement with your finances. It means having honest conversations with family if necessary, understanding the resources available to you, and being prepared to make adjustments as circumstances change. It underscores the importance of financial literacy and planning throughout your life, but also the need for continued awareness and management in retirement. It highlights that financial worries can persist even after leaving the workforce, and that addressing them proactively, seeking advice when needed, and being adaptable are crucial for maintaining peace of mind and quality of life in your later years. It reminds us that securing your financial future is less about hitting a magic number at retirement and more about ongoing stewardship and resilience in the face of life's unpredictable expenses. Finally, let's approach the fifth and perhaps most insidious harsh truth, one that often creeps up quietly, the feeling of sometimes being overlooked or invisible. This ties into some of the other points we've discussed: the societal shift in focus, the potential for a changing social circle, and the redefinition of purpose. The fifth harsh truth is that maintaining your relevance and feeling seen takes conscious effort. You might feel invisible sometimes, as if the world is moving on without you. This isn't just about feeling lonely. It's about feeling a lack of recognition, a sense that your contributions, your thoughts, and your very presence are less noticed or valued than they once were. In the workplace, you might have been a key player, a go-to person. In your community, you might have held positions of responsibility. Within your family, perhaps you were the central figure, the organizer, the one everyone turned to. As these roles evolve or end, the external validation and recognition they provided can fade. Conversation dynamics can change. In group settings, you might find yourself being interrupted more often, or that younger people sometimes dismiss your experiences as outdated. Family gatherings might focus primarily on the lives and achievements of the younger generations, leaving you feeling like an interested spectator rather than an active participant. People might talk over you, finish your sentences, or make assumptions about your capabilities or interests based solely on your age. This feeling of invisibility can be deeply unsettling. It can erode your confidence and make you hesitant to speak up, to share your wisdom, or to initiate engagement. It's like feeling yourself becoming a background figure in the play of life, rather than being on center stage or even having a speaking part. It's not that people are intentionally malicious most of the time. It's often an unconscious bias, or simply that the fast-paced modern world doesn't always pause to fully engage with those who aren't actively competing in the main race. Maintaining a sense of relevance in this context requires conscious effort. It means continuing to engage with the world, staying curious, learning new things, and finding ways to contribute in ways that are meaningful to you. It might mean actively seeking out opportunities to share your skills and knowledge, whether through mentoring, volunteering, or engaging in community projects. It means being assertive in conversations, making your voice heard, and refusing to accept being marginalized. It also means cultivating relationships where you are seen and valued, where your experiences are respected, and your presence is cherished. This might involve nurturing intergenerational friendships, joining groups focused on shared interests, not just age, or actively participating in family life in ways that allow you to contribute your unique perspective and wisdom. It requires a degree of resilience to the subtle and sometimes not so subtle ways ageism can manifest. The harsh truth is that you can't rely solely on external structures or societal norms to make you feel visible and relevant in your later years. You have to actively cultivate that feeling from within and strategically engage with the world to ensure you remain connected and valued. This is perhaps the most challenging truth because it strikes at the core of our desire to matter, to feel important, to know that our lives and experiences still have weight and significance. Recognizing this potential for invisibility allows you to be proactive. It encourages you to define your own value, independent of how others might perceive you based on your age. It motivates you to continue learning, growing, and contributing in ways that are fulfilling to you. It underscores the importance of maintaining strong relationships where you are truly seen and heard. It's a reminder that while the world might sometimes try to push you to the sidelines, you have the power to stay actively engaged, to continue making your mark, and to ensure that your wisdom, your experiences, and your unique spirit continue to enrich the lives of those around you and the world itself. It's about refusing to fade into the background and instead choosing to shine brightly, on your own terms. So, we've talked about some tough stuff today, haven't we? We've explored the reality of increasing loss and the challenge of forging new deep connections. We've faced the physical changes our bodies go through and the sometimes uncomfortable truth of shifting societal perceptions. We've considered the need to actively build new purpose when old roles fade away. And we've discussed the potential for financial worries and the feeling of sometimes being overlooked or invisible. These aren't easy things to confront, and perhaps they feel a bit heavy right now. But remember, talking about these harsh truths isn't about being negative or dwelling on the downsides of getting older. Quite the opposite. In fact, it's about acknowledging the reality so you can be prepared, so you can navigate these years with your eyes wide open, and so you can actively work to counteract the potential challenges. Ignoring these things doesn't make them go away. It just leaves you less equipped to handle them when they arise. Think of it this way. Knowing the path ahead has some difficult sections allows you to pack the right gear, strengthen your muscles, and plan your route more effectively. You're not going into it blindly. You can approach these aspects of aging with resilience, foresight, and a plan for how you want to live, rather than just reacting to circumstances as they happen. You can choose to be intentional about nurturing your relationships, proactive about finding new sources of purpose, vigilant about your finances, and assertive in ensuring your voice is heard and your presence is valued. This stage of life, despite these challenges, can also be incredibly rich and rewarding. There's freedom from some of the pressures of younger years, more time for personal interests, the opportunity to connect with grandchildren and family in new ways, and the wisdom that comes only with lived experience. The goal isn't to avoid the challenges, but to integrate them into a full, meaningful, and happy life. Remember, small changes and shifts in perspective can make a big difference in how you experience these years. Being open to forming new connections, exploring different activities, managing your finances thoughtfully, and consciously choosing to engage with the world are all powerful steps you can take. Your experiences, your stories, your wisdom, they are valuable. Don't let anyone or any societal message tell you otherwise. I hope this conversation has been helpful. Perhaps even a little validating if you've already been feeling some of these things. It takes courage to look at the less glamorous parts of aging. But doing so is an act of self-respect and empowerment. It's about taking control of your narrative and choosing to live this chapter of your life fully, honestly, and with grace. What do you think about these truths? Have you experienced any of them? Are there other harsh truths you think go unspoken? Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your perspective is valuable, and hearing from you helps build a community where we can support each other through these shared realities. If you found this video insightful, please give it a like. It really helps this content reach more people who might benefit from this conversation. And if you're not already, consider subscribing to my channel for more discussions like this on navigating life, finding purpose, and living well at every age. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Remember, your story is still being written, and you have so much to offer. Live your best life at every age.